Well, things are coming along nice, I guess. Nice and slow, I will say that. Well, what's up, guys? It's Daniel from Arms Family Homestead, and as you can see, I'm back at the pond. Things are drying up quite nicely. It's been, I guess it's been a few weeks now since we cut the dam and drained the pond. Now, I think this is about the third video in this series. I came over about a week ago and started kind of testing the waters. Testing the mud, I guess, probably a better phrase, because this pond was just full of muck, and I knew it would take a while for that to dry up, but I was able to get over here with the skid steer and start scooping a little bit of mud, and it got down to a hard clay bottom. Some places the muck is 2 or 3 inches, and some places it's over a foot, but still can't walk out in there. However, pretty much everywhere else on the pond you can walk around on, and I can get the skid steer in and scoop mud. I haven't had as much time to devote to this project over the last week as I hoped, but I got a little bit more work done and finally got the Cotto mini excavator back to the house. It's been at my buddy's shop where his store got torn down by the tornado several months ago that hit our town. It's been a long ordeal, but he's starting the rebuild process, so he's had the Cotto excavator up there doing a bunch of foundation work, trying to get ready for footings and all that stuff. But anyways, blah, 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 blah. I got the Cotto home, and I'm going to start taking out some of these trees and stumps and things, because we're going to need a lot of this soil on the dam. If we are planning on raising the pond dam 6 to 8 feet, it's going to take a lot of soil from different places. So I've got a mountain of muck pile. This stuff's pretty good soil, really. I think it would be useful for something, but not for a pond dam. But I think Houston's got a whopper plopper up in the top of that tree. When I knock that one down, I may be able to reclaim one of his fishing lures. But there's a lot of stumps and things that I just can't push out of here with the skid steer, so that's where the big guns come in. I'm gonna do some work with the Cotto today. Hey guys, today's video is sponsored by Delete Me. Now, if you're not familiar with Delete Me, they're an online service that removes your information, your personal information, from the internet, and they take it away from folks known as data brokers. So if you're not familiar with what a data broker is, there's people out there whose whole career, their whole life revolves around getting every little piece of information about you that's possible. So they collect name, address, phone number, possible social security number, and they compile all of it into one file, and they sell that information to data brokers. And those data brokers use that to attack you, whether it's financially, go after, putting false mortgages on your property, or just going after your bank accounts, all sorts of different things. They run a scan about once a month and check for information online. So as you can see, They've reviewed 15,680 listings when 94 data brokers had my information. And you can break it down by month. They've all had access to my family members' information, address, name, age, spouse. So things like background checkers, websites, all kinds of ID True websites, ID Strong, Info Tracker, things like Yellow Pages and Public Records. Now, I don't get into politics a whole lot on this channel, but I want to say, with it being election season coming up soon, I think it's important for people to protect their information as much as ever, because there are folks out there who want to come after you because of your political beliefs. You don't have to be way far left or way far right. You can be just on the fringes. And if you're out there on social media and different places online, just leaning one direction, there are people out there who may want to attack you physically, who may want to attack you just, to wreck your life with taking over your finances, taking over accounts, or just hacking into your information so that you can't share political views and standpoints to sway an election one direction or the other. I think it's important to secure your information, remove as much of that from the internet as possible. As much as possible. We're all on the internet. I read a study that Delete Me sent that said the average internet user has over 500 pieces of personally relevant information about them spread across dozens of data brokers. If you want to protect your privacy and your family, friends, and those you care about, be sure to check out Delete Me, okay? So all you have to do is click the link in the description box down below or visit joindeleteme.com/arms20. And when you do, you're going to get 20% off when you remove your personal information online. And you'll get your first report back in as little as 7 days. Alright. Now where is Houston's fishing lure? There's a whopper plopper here somewhere. It was hanging in a limb. I saw it. I know it's there. I know it's here somewhere. Hopefully it didn't get buried. Stuck straight in the ground. Where did it go? If you guys see it and I missed it, you must have better eyes than me. It's got to be here somewhere. I mean, it could have shot off out there somewhere, but... Ah, there it is on the ground. Thank you. Those are expensive. Those are like $15. And that one's in perfect shape because it's only been in that tree, I don't know, a few weeks. Houston will be happy. However, on the stump situation, I am not about to dig this stump out. This one here, that one over there, man. Some of these stumps, I mean, all of them have been out here for 35 plus years, but some of them are just so well preserved being underwater. They might be harder now than when they were alive. I mean, this stuff, you can't rip it apart. It's got such a good root system still. I mean, think about this. These tiny little roots have been under the ground dead for 35 plus years. Perfectly preserved underwater. Well, things are coming along nice, I guess. Nice and slow, I will say that. Man, I'm telling you, digging those stumps out with this thing, I mean, I'm not by any means a good excavator operator, so this is actually really good practice for me. These stumps, I'm telling you, I'm not kidding. These stumps are harder to get out than ones that I've dug out in my yard, and they're just in this clay. I mean, this stuff is unreal solid clay. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better in a pond bottom. Now, digging stumps out of it is a chore. So I'm not digging all the stumps out, but just most of the ones that I know are going to be a problem that I would run over with a machine, you know. So like the big giant trees, I'm going to leave some of that stuff, probably go ahead and push the tops over. And I don't know, I've got a guy coming tomorrow. Well, no, I'm not sure when. A guy coming in a couple days that he messaged me as a local contractor. They're actually doing some work just a couple miles from my house on a county road improvement, doing some things. But he said his son was a huge fan of the channel, and he said, hey, I'd love to come out and give you a bid. He's supposed to call me tomorrow to see when he can come look at everything. And you know, they've got big bulldozers, big excavators, big haul trucks. And while what I'm doing here is probably not 100% necessary, any work I can do now is going to save money versus having somebody else do the same thing. So he's going to come look at it, and he said he's got I don't even know what the program's called, some sort of fancy GPS tracked transit. I don't know what it is, honestly, but he can come out and take pictures and get measurements and get transit levels and everything, and tell me exactly how many yards of topsoil, yards of clay, yards of dirt they're going to have to move to raise the dam, where they can get it. But he can basically do a 3D model, essentially, of what the finished pond would look like. And that's pretty stinking neat. So I don't know I don't have a clue what his bid's going to come in at. I have no idea. I just know the more prep work I can do now, which would probably take me twice as long, obviously, with smaller equipment than if they came in here with a big bulldozer and a big, you know, like 200 series, 300 series excavator that'll just pluck all this out of the ground, scrape it all back, and be done. Still, I'd rather do the work now, since it doesn't cost me anything, since I have the equipment here. The only thing it costs me is diesel, and then I get to make money on the content as we go. So we'll see what his 3D model program thing looks like, and see what his bid comes in as. I know it's going to be an expensive project, and I haven't settled on who we're going to hire yet for sure. And I really don't even know what all's possible out here. I just know, based off the contour lines, we can go from a 1.5 acre pond up to about a 4 acre pond, and that's really exciting to me. I know it's gonna be a lot of work, and I don't mind the work. I don't mind. It's just the expense and the time. So if we can hire somebody to come in, give me a really good idea of what's possible and what we can do, and get a game plan of what I can do, prep work ahead of time before they come in. Because, well, I mean, you can see some of this stuff still gets pretty wet. It's still, after you're on it for a little while, you could see that skid steer started spinning tires. And I said I could pretty much walk anywhere on the pond until I got over on this side, and it's dry where I'm working here, but obviously it's still a muddy mess down there, and the whole ditch is a muddy mess. But there's a low spot that runs right through here that I tried to walk through a couple times, and actually lost a shoe in the mud. Had to pull my shoe out over there. So there's still a lot of moisture in all of this that's not drying out very fast. The other side over there, I think, is drying out faster because it gets more sunlight. This side gets a lot of evening shade during the hottest part of the day as the sun starts going behind the trees. This stuff doesn't dry out. Like that side, that's facing the east, so the sun sets in the west. That east bank over there just gets cooked. So it's probably really dry over there. But either way, I'm satisfied. I'm happy with the way the equipment's tackling the project. I honestly didn't think we'd be able to get in here this soon. And you know, this pond is really old. It's almost as old as I am, and so I knew it held water. But it's really, really encouraging when you can see that sort of clay in the pond bottom. That was not hauled in here. That's what was in the bottom of the pond, you know, underneath all the muck layer. Haven't decided what to do with this little grass island. It'll be completely underwater if we leave it when the pond refills, but it's working. Like I said, drying out nicely on top, but still down here, after we remove all that muck and debris and decaying organic matter, it's not dry by any means. You could not get out here with a bulldozer safely just yet. So over there, I think it'll dry out much faster now that we got all that muck and that mountain of stuff over there out of the way. So I guess over the next week or so, we'll kind of formulate a game plan, hopefully, or an idea, at least get another estimate, another bid on the job to see what it's going to take, and see, basically, do I want to just hire them to do it all, you know, and say, here, it's just hand it over to them? Or, you know, one thing that has to be done is we have to come in here and clean out trees all the way around the pond so that we can move soil and get more soil for the dam. And I want to be able to get around the pond. The way it was previously, man, it was like the water's edge and then trees, because the way it was built was just a ditch that was flooded, and where the trees were is where they were. So the ones that were inside the water died, the ones that were outside the water lived, and it made it very hard to maintain around the edge of the pond. And if we can raise it as much as we're hoping, we're going to need to take out a lot of trees. So I don't know what their estimate, you know, if he gives me an estimate and breaks it down, if it's feasible, I may just hire him to do all of that work too. If not, I've got a friend that's got a bulldozer, and I can pay him, and I can come out here and help him, and we can both do the work and save a little bit of money there. So I don't know, we shall see. But either way, it's about supper time. I know my wife's going to be calling any minute. I think I'll just leave the excavator and skid steer over here both, so I don't have to keep driving them back and forth. I can walk back to the house. It's only about a quarter of a mile. So get my stuff rounded up, take all my cameras back and charge everything. Oh, it takes, the heat takes it out of these cameras. I promise you that. The sun, just a camera sitting out in the sun doing a time lapse in the heat, it just drains batteries in a hurry, just as bad as the cold does. But anyways, guys, remember, do something today to make somebody smile, because you never know, it just might change the world. So guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. You guys have a great day. And as always, we'll see you on the next video.